we are going to move on with the rest of our meeting. Next up, we have citizen participation, and we had nobody sign up for that tonight. The next item will be consent agenda items. There's quite a list of quite a few different reports and location of prom and other consent agenda. So we need a motion unless there's questions.
Motion.
Thank you.
Second.
Motion by Chris Bell, seconded by Roger Richmond to approve the consent agenda as presented. All those in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? 6 yes, 1 absent.
Our next item for tonight is the financial statement and the March bills. There's 3 different check runs in there. If there's a question, please ask it now. Otherwise, we need a motion.
I make a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Lisa Elrod, seconded by Roger Bridgman to approve the financial statement and action on the March bills as presented. All those in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? 5 yes, 1 abstain, 1 absent.
Next up, let's move into administrative reports. Let's start with board and committee reports. I don't have anything board-wise. Anybody else?
Only thing I have is if student schools wanted to do a presentation at the conference in October, that deadline is in April. I think it's April 19th.
I believe I have that on my calendar from last year.
All right, then let's, and also we do need to recognize, we have 2 board members. I don't know,
Not
did
going
I
to
say that
jail.
last month? We have 2 board members that have completed their crazy training, their extensive training.
I do have to say, we both did the online version through MSBA, so we were able to just attend virtually over like a Friday evening and a Saturday morning instead of going in person.
Nice.
And then do the other 10.5 hours of fun.
I'm sure you're very well
It's so
educated. It's
awesome.
quite extensive.
Yes.
So awesome.
Yes.
All right, thank you for getting that done, guys. Let's move into building principal reports. Let's start at the elementary.
Let's do it. Awesome.
If you have anything else to add to your
So outside of the board report, we did just complete kindergarten screening, which went really well. We screened over 60 kindergarten students. Our parents as teachers coordinator, Tiffany Lawrence, did an excellent job organizing this. I had to provide very little assistance. She kind of got the ball rolling, and it was a very organized event. We got a lot of good feedback from both our teachers and families as far as how the screening process went. We move on to pre-K screening, which will be coming up April 3rd. So we're excited for that, and right now we're sitting right around 40 students that are on the list for pre-K screening. They will be given the dial for screening, and then on a fun note, we do a quarterly reward with our students. If they haven't had any major office referrals or 2 or less minor referrals, they get to participate in a quarterly incentive. We've done things from ice cream to hot chocolate we did back in December, and tomorrow Mrs. Brown and I are gearing up to play dodgeball with a bunch of elementary students. So we're excited to be hammered by a couple of kids with the balls. Yeah, we're prepared for it.
I will never volunteer
But we look
for that.
forward. We look forward to that event. I know the kids have been counting down for it, and between the snow days and stuff, they've seen it. We advertise what they're working towards, and then we have a board that counts down the days. And then things got kind of hectic coming back from the extensive weather snow days, and so they've been on us. When are we doing dodgeball? And it's here tomorrow, and so we are prepared to be attacked. It'll be fun though. It'll be fun.
Don't we have to call that like smash ball or something?
Smash ball, not dodgeball.
Yeah, it's not dodgeball anymore. Right.
It is. I have a few that may be a little too excited. They're like, "What are the teams?" And I'm like, "We'll decide that later." I'm not telling you now because you will plot it against me. But still, lots of fun things going on. Our calendars getting filled very fast as we approach the end of the year between map testing and field trips. We did just go to the Capitol last week. That was really fun too. I got to go with 3rd grade and we also received lots of compliments while we were at the Capitol for how well behaved our students were. So we were definitely proud of that. So lots of good things going on.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Let's move into middle school.
Okay, middle school, we're just happy that we've been back consistently, and looking forward to spring break, but just been nice to kind of get back into a rhythm and so forth. We had our PBS walkthrough this past week. We had to reschedule that because of weather, and our PBS consultants had a lot of really positive things to say about our implementation of PBS and how welcome they felt, and just how well things are going with PBS. Spice fundraisers in full swing, and a lot of kids are working hard to get that 30 mark so they can not only do some go-kart riding but also to pie a teacher in the face. They really like that one. And then volleyball season is wrapping up tomorrow. It's been a very quick season. Unfortunately, we had to have some games canceled due to weather and not able to reschedule, but it's been a really good season overall. We've had some really good games, good matchups, so that's been a lot of fun. So yeah, we're just getting ready to kind of start looking at what's coming up the next few weeks after we come back from spring break with MAP testing and getting all of our incentives and activities and everything in before the end of the year. So it gets to be a very busy time, I think, for everybody, but you know, we just want to get all those things in and just recognize our kids for our upcoming MAP test. We're doing the red carpet ceremony, so we recognize our advanced proficient as well as our kids that have made improvements from 23 to 24, because we feel that's important as well. So, yep.
That pie, isn't that for administrators too? It can be an
Yeah. I got it a few times last year.
Is it district-wide, or is it just in the
It's a building only.
Oh, we make all sorts of
Should be from the top
They
down.
try to squeeze in some people outside the building, so, yeah.
Okay. Let's go to the high school report.
Okay. We do have one correction on my report. We have 23 students going out for baseball, not 14. So I don't know how that number got to me wrong, but so we'll be playing a full JV as well, which is good. That's what they need. I promise the high school is doing things. It's just not on Facebook yet because I'm so far behind. But we did. It's getting there. We have a lot. Service Day was awesome yet again. We tested all of our sophomores. We tested 32 juniors for ACT. We adjusted our timing a little bit, got them all back in the building, was done with lunch by 12:15. It ran very smooth, like even smoother than it did last year, so we were impressed by that. And then we also today, which will show up on Facebook, took our 2 new ECA students. They found out today. We did a signing for them, which was super cool. Made a big deal of it. Brought their parents down from the building, which was very convenient for us, but they were very excited, lots of tears and happiness, so that'll be fun to post. And just one note, everybody can see how on the discipline, how the new late rule is working. It's working very well. That is the majority of our discipline this month was the lates to school, but our attendance looks better, so it's working for us.
Let's go to Ms. B.
Yeah, our para PD Monday was very good. I haven't posted the pictures yet, but I have them. Everybody had a good time there. It's very good.
Called the SPED department in action, so.
Yep.
Photo.
Good. That is fantastic.
Yep.
Put that good news out there.
Yep.
All right, Abby with our student.
I think probably like one of the most important things I think in my board report is the Jack Snyder, how the FFA members got to dress up and kind of show their support for Jack. And I even heard from Marley that kids in Kentucky were dressing up for him too because they met him at certain events throughout the years. So that was cool.
Okay. Good. Let's go to the assistant superintendent report.
Sure. One thing I wanted to highlight in my report is that we did get our summer food service program application was approved again this year. So that enables us to not only feed our summer school kids breakfast and lunch for free, but anyone in the community who is 18 years old or younger can actually come during our meal times and receive a free meal. So that would include like kids at cross-country camp or the football team when they have their weights and things like that. But also just anyone in the community is eligible for that. So I was really excited that got approved.
That is awesome. Okay, let's move to superintendent report.
Just want to highlight a couple of things. One, are working with Navigate Building Solutions for our capital projects. I've seen the rough drafts of that document. It's looking really nice. So hopefully April we can have Corey back to present. If not, it'll be in May. I think the board will be pleasantly pleased with how it's turning out. And the other, just want to thank Lisa Martellaro for partnering with the school to do donations. And so we're taking those through tomorrow as well, and then they'll go help support the broader community. So we're just grateful to be able to assist them.
Yeah, if you have not donated and you would like to, get your stuff in. Fill that up. Okay, let's move into unfinished business. First up, we have 24-25 budget update and some budget amendments.
So our current budget, we've spent 96% in comparison to our revenues at 70%. So we're right on track this year. We've got all of our staff expensed already. So that's looking good, and then we just have some updates to the budget. We do those 3 times a year to make sure everything stays balanced as possible. And some of those bigger moves, it's actually just account codes that we're changing to be more accurate with. So.
Yep, so there is a list of budget amendments in your packet. You need an approval for those.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Roger Bridgman, seconded by Chris Bell, that the budget amendments be approved as presented. All those in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? 6 yes, 1 absent.
We can move right into a 25-26 budget update.
Yep.
Still a work in progress.
So I'm going to take a little more time, just kind of give a picture of what's going on at the federal level, state level, our district, just to kind of see how all these come in to determine a budget, and staffing is a big part of that. So I want to take a little time to kind of walk through that. So at the federal level, we have the U.S. Department of Education, which for us, a big part of that's our Title I programming, which has funding for our high poverty K-12 schools, and we receive a good chunk of money there. And then we also have a good portion of money that comes through IDEA, and that services students with disabilities. So today, President Trump signed an executive order to essentially dismantle the U.S. Department of Education. People ask me, is that good, is it bad? I really don't know, but I can tell you right now, I haven't seen any plan to where that's going to essentially help schools at the moment. So what I have to look at and plan for example, our title funds in the last 3 years have gone down $140,000. So that's money that we would use to support students in our school. Next year, the money will probably be there, but fiscal year 27, that's looking at being reduced 25%. So that's another $125,000. So just right there, that money is about $260,000 we do not have. Another thing that is big in there is the E-rate, which a lot of people aren't familiar with that, but that's government money that allows rural schools to update the infrastructure for internet usage. We benefited about just under $180,000 with that. So things like that are stuff that we'll have to take. They're looking at doing block grants from the federal government. So the concept is to take the federal money, pass it down to the states to have more state and then local control. So when we get federal money, there's always guidelines on how to use that money. Well, for that to happen, if it truly is to dismantle, it has to be an act of Congress, which they are getting closer to having enough votes for that. But then to figure out how to earmark the money or make sure there's accountability, we have the Every Student Succeeds Act, which took place at No Child Left Behind. Have you heard about that or familiar with that? Some people say that might not happen because that was such a big process to create the ESSA. However, I don't think people should be that naive because there was a committee put together to create it. There can be a committee put together to revise it. So So we're not sure how that'll work, but if they do block grants, they're simply gonna take the money from places they've cut, pass it down to the state. Okay, maybe that's not a bad idea, or if there's not stipulations with it, maybe it'll work out. But then the next step from the state though, right now we currently have a very conservative governor with very supportive of school choice options. So that's not just public ed. He supports public ed, but also supports voucher and charter schools. Well, these are different ways money can flow, not just to public ed, but from other places. And then we couple that right now with kind of the cultural, virtual, and homeschooling. Again, all choices that people have to make, but it's really starting to impact public education. And so kind of walking through further, in the school year 2019-2020, we had 1,309 students. Next year, the projection is 1,142 students. So we've lost in our school district 176 students. And that's how we get revenues based on number of students in seat. So when I'm looking at budgets, one thing I want to do is make sure we're appropriately staffed, meaning we're not overstaffed, and we follow DESE guidelines. So for example, in the elementary, we heard Ms. Green talk about kindergarten screenings. There was 64 identified, and this year we have a very good PAT teacher who gets out and figures out who the students are, and it was postponed 3 times due to weather. So I think we have most students identified, but added 10 there as well, just in case we have some more show up. But next year that would put our kindergarten class at 74. So when we look at having 4 teachers there, that's 18.5 students. And DESE K-12 looks at desirable 17, but standard is 25. So then in first grade, that would be 75 next year. So 4 teachers, 18.75 students. And then second grade would be 81, and so 4 teachers, 20.25 students. So again, still right there in the DESE guides. And then third through fourth grade students, 27 for standard, 20 for desirable. But we would be at third grade, 87 students, so 4 teachers, 21.75, and fourth grade students, 91 at 4 teachers is 22.75. So again, just really appropriately staffed with those at the elementary. And then when we look at the middle school, we've often had times where we couldn't find teachers to fill positions, so we've actually, Ms. Shoemaker's done a really good job of making things work. And we'll have some postings after tonight's meeting to try to get some other positions filled that haven't been, but they're highly sought after, so we're not sure if we can get them filled. But really, efficient in the middle school. So then I look at the high school, and something I think that's kind of a misnomer when we're looking at scheduling and creating schedules. We have 389 students in the high school, but with the options we have now, we have a virtual learning that's increased, and so we have 35 students there. So those are students that aren't in seat, needing a schedule. We have a flex program, junior and senior year, starting to where if they have their credits, they can leave campus to go work. And so we've got several students in that program. We have RTI, which is great, but that, again, junior, senior year, those students leave campus. So when we really look at creating schedules right now for students, that 389, we really have 275. And you go, oh, I thought there was a lot more kids in there. And it's like, well, we're at 275. But then when you look at the current enrollment numbers at the middle school here in just a year or two, we'll have 350 kids in the high school enrollment, which actually drops down to creating schedules for only 235 students. So when you really look at that, we are being impacted by all these things going on. Again, is it good, is it bad? I don't know, but it's reality. And so for me, just to make sure I'm a good steward of taxpayer dollars and making sure we stay fiscally responsible, I have to adjust staffing appropriately, because with opportunities, you have opportunity costs. If we overstaff, well, then we don't have money for other things. But if we do appropriate staffing, for example, right now there's no indication that Career Ladder will be funded. So if we staff appropriately and I can free up some funds, then as a board we can look at and determine, what do we want to do? Do we want to do all of it, part of it, none of it? But it would be an opportunity to spread that money out K-12 versus being overstaffed in one area of our district. So these are all things kind of taking account for and looking at. So one of the things too that will hit us legislatively is open enrollment. So that's passed the House and now in the Senate. And the Senate has 2 bills as well that are worse than the House bill. And quite honestly, somebody gave the example, would you like to be punched in the face once or twice? Well, just because one's not as bad as the other doesn't mean either one of them is a good option. So that'll have a big impact on us as well. Financially, we're just kind of waiting to see what happens, but that's been around for 4 or 5 years now. So talking to the legislators, I think it will end up passing. And again, will we lose kids, gain kids? I don't know. Everybody thinks they'll gain kids, but there'll be kids that move out to other areas. So that'll have an impact on us as well. And really every student we lose out of public ed across the state of Missouri just really hurts public ed in general. So we're able to do things, in this position it's really bipartisan. And a lot of people want to say, oh, it's a Democratic thing, it's a Republican thing. Really, public ed's an American thing, and it's something we need to protect. And I'm proud of the fact that we educate all students. And so we don't get to pick or choose who comes through our doors. But one thing, we see a lot of false information sometimes in the national news about we're ranked low. Well, that's because the United States educates every child. We don't just take our top cream of the crop and then compare it against other countries. So I'm proud as an American to do it, to be able to educate kids, and just as an educator, having special ed background, teaching students with disabilities, those are also abilities in other areas. So just really proud of that. So I'll get off my soapbox, but it's just a lot. So we are at a very, very interesting point in time at the federal and state level, educate public ed in general, but it is impacting our district. And so just want to take a little more time to kind of share where we're at and why, when we look at staffing at the high school, at the middle school or elementary, where these decisions are being made. Because right now the state gave me lower numbers to use in a multiplier, which means lower revenues. So again, are these changes going to help or hurt? I don't know, but right now I don't see a plan to where they're helping. I'm just seeing stuff being reduced. So I'll plan accordingly, and we'll go from there. And we have a lot of great things still going on for kids, and we'll continue to do that. But if anybody would like more information too, I'd be glad to talk to them later. I can talk all night about it. Anyway, that's the update for 25, 26.
Any questions about that update? Let's move into new business. Let's talk about employee insurance for the 25-26 school year.
So, this actually, I'm pretty excited about what it was. We had an increase, but not to the extent of what it could have been. Some districts got hit with a 28, 29% increase. Ours came in, if you were able to look through the little packet here, at a 6% increase. But when you look at that further, they give 4 options. So that 6% increase is for the most expensive 4th option. But when we really drill down the data here, we don't get individual names, but we do get cases and what the claims were for those individuals. And so option 4 is the most expensive on here. And opting not to go with that, because that would be a $87,000 increase. But when we look at how many people use that option, it was 1 person. So we'll go with paying up to option 3, and they can buy up to option 4. But by doing just the option 3, it's a $25,000 increase roughly, which isn't bad at all compared to what some other districts have been hit. So that actually makes our percentage 1.8. Yep. So I don't think that's bad at all. So that's pretty good. So recommendation. So this is something too, when looking at budget-wise, we are increasing or making a recommendation to do a board-paid insurance at $694.99 per person per month, which is an increase in benefits. So.
Other questions about employee insurance?
Our ancillaries as well will stay the same, so same company. So it's kind of nice. I've been in districts before where we change the insurance every year. At 11 different companies in 11 years. But
Need a motion?
I do.
Motion by Sherry Schutte, seconded by Caitlin Mace, to approve the insurance bid from Anthem, option 1, 2, 3, and 4 as presented, with board paid capped at $694.99. All those in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? 6 yes, 1 absent.
Okay, next up, we do have there's a quote in your packet, and it is for some tarps for the track, and is also the gym for the high school. Kind of looking at this, just needing some upgrades, but also to be used for graduation, which is quickly approaching.
Yeah, they give us the option to have graduation outside the football field to protect the track out there. And we can use parts of it too during football games. So our team has gotten to a tradition of cutting across the track and after game high-fiving all of our fans and cutting back. We've got tarps now that will would protect the track there, and upgrading our tarps in the gym, which those are starting to become a hazard a little bit.
And these tarps in the gym would Velcro together so that we wouldn't have the flaps
Correct,
that people want to trip on.
Yeah, and like clean easier.
Yeah.
Okay.
Composite.
And they look prettier.
Is that what it means by runners? It's like different. There's
So the runners-
different pieces,
yeah.
or the runners are what goes over the
Yeah.
track?
Thank you for bringing that up. So the runners are separate. Those would be used for basketball games or volleyball games.
Gotcha.
They would go underneath the chairs of the teams,
So it doesn't
not the scuff of the
Gotcha.
floor. They'll just kind of make it a little nicer. And those are the only things that have a logo on them. All the other tarps are plain, like have a charcoal color. And the sales rep assured me that if we get it ordered this week, it could be used for graduation.
Make that motion.
Thank you, Roger.
Get it done.
Motion by Roger Bridgman, seconded by Lisa Elrod, to approve the purchase of the track and gym tarps as presented. All those in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? 6 yes, 1 absent.
All right, next item on the agenda is Board of Education approved agenda items. There are none. Then we move to resident agenda items, also none. And next up is to approve our regular board meeting for the month of April. I want to throw out a couple of disclaimers before you start throwing out dates. The 17th is a little bit too early, I've been told, for Mills.
From who? I wonder.
We also have, on the 17th, that there's a high school track meet, and it's senior night that night. And there's also a middle school band concert.
There's also high school golf.
And
first
high
grade
school golf.
concert.
And a first grade concert. So,
That's a Friday night.
ideally, the 17th is not a good meeting date.
Oh, wait. Sorry, never mind.
So, I will tell you that we have reorganization already set for that night. So, kind of two things to think about. If we set our actual board meeting for the 22nd, maybe. We could either keep reorganization on the 17th. That would also give our new board member a chance, a couple of days to review the information. We could move reorganization to the 15th, so we're not interfering with, all of those events on the 17th. So yeah, we have a couple of things we potentially need to do here.
I think that we should have rework separate, just being newer. That's a lot to walk into.
Yeah,
at times.
and I guess we
So-
could have even had reorganization on the 22nd, but again, to have a new board member walk in and have to go straight
even
into a
have
meeting
to
like
pack it
this,
or
that's,
anything.
it's a lot, that's not being it.
If you give them too much time, they may back out.
I would not want to be friendly. That's what board meetings.
So, are we looking at the 22nd?
I think we should do reorganization.
Are you making a motion?
And I move to do reorganization at 5 o'clock on Tuesday, April 15th, which is tax day. And then we have our regular board meeting on Tuesday, the 22nd, at whatever time we
Which is
meet,
Earth Day.
6 o'clock. And it's a birthday.
No, Earth Day, not my birthday. I mean, we can celebrate my birthday, but it's Earth Day. I'm here for a party, but it's the Earth Day. It's Earth's birthday.
It's still 3 months.
All right.
All right.
Did you get all of those?
So the
Those are better.
15th.
Yes,
What did we say?
Okay. I
The
think I
15th
got
is
it.
We need a
reorganization.
second for the reorganization on the
Second.
15th at 5
Got it.
and the board meeting on the 22nd at 6. Is that what you said?
We have.
I don't remember.
That's at 26, that's a Saturday.
22nd.
I said
Second.
2-2.
22nd, Tuesday and Tuesday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Motion by Caitlin Mays, seconded by Chris Bell to reschedule the reorganization meeting for Tuesday, April 15th, 2025 at 5 p.m. and schedule the regular April board meeting on Tuesday, April 22nd, 2025 at 6 p.m. with closed session to follow. All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Opposed? 6 yes, 1 absent.
Okay. Next up, we need a motion to go into closed session after a 10-minute recess.
Motion by Caitlin Mays, seconded by Lisa Elrod to go into closed session in accordance with the provisions of section 610.021, subsection 3 and 13 of the revised statutes of Missouri in order to discuss personnel after a 10-minute recess. Roger?
Yes.
Lisa?
Yes.
Caitlin?
Yes.
Tammy is absent. Sherry?
Yes.
Chris? Jennifer?
Yes.
6 yes, 1 absent.